Tensions between Australia and China have recently been seen like the edge-of-your-seat part of a geopolitical thriller. No one knows exactly where the story is going or how it's going to end. Australia-China relations appear seized in a well-charted descending spiral. In the past year alone, both countries have lodged complaints against the other with the World Trade Organization, and a freeze on high-level diplomatic relations remains in place. China has slapped tariffs on key Australian exports, while the chattering classes haven't helpfully stoked fears of a regional war. So who or what is responsible for this type of adversarial relationship? Hello everyone, welcome back to World of China, a channel to explore the real China. In today's video, we're talking about the current conflict and bitter relationship between Australia and China. What's the reason behind this conflict? So stay tuned to know the full story, and don't forget to hit the like button. A small percent of our viewers subscribe to my channel, so if you like this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind anytime. Australia's relations with China are amongst the most important foreign policy issues. China is maintaining rapid economic growth even while entering a period of political dilemma. Economic growth is making the country a key trading and investment partner for Australia, and its success is increasing Beijing's confidence in advancing its position in regional and global affairs. At the same time, the decline of Maoist ideology, the growth of regional and social bias, and the decline of the Communist Party's control over people's daily life is throwing the legitimacy of the party into question. Anger and mistrust between the countries have been bubbling under the surface for years. A turning point happened in 2017 after the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, or ASIO, warned of growing Chinese attempts to influence decision-making in Canberra. Donations from Chinese businessmen to local politicians also came to light. Late in the year, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull announced laws designed to control foreign interference. Beijing responded by freezing diplomatic visits. Let's take a moment to look behind. Given the key role of the US alliance in Australia's foreign policy, China often interprets Australian actions in the context of US policy objectives. Australia is appreciated for the occasions in the recent and more distant past when it has acted independently of the US. But China remains very sensitive to distinguished changes in Australia's policies, which suggests a return to policies of the past. Along with managing a growing Australia-China bilateral relationship, a key challenge for Australian policymakers will be to balance the demands of the Chinese connection while maintaining close ties with the US. The vague status of the US and Australian relationship with Taiwan will be a continuing issue, and the reunification of Hong Kong with China in July 1997 has potential for political and economic problems. In 2012, Rudd argued that under President Xi Jinping's leadership, China's domestic and economic policy has shifted away from the private sector and closer to the Chinese Communist Party. This, coupled with resurgent Chinese nationalism, has led to an increasingly assertive approach to regional and global affairs aimed at protecting its national values and interests. The strategic competition that now defines relations between China and America also has implications for Australia, particularly as both former leaders strongly defended Australia's alliance relationship with the United States. Mounting tensions among the great powers in maritime disputes and over Taiwan have the potential to bring Australia into regional conflicts. These tensions are not limited to security policy, but also include other foreign policy issues such as human rights and the international economic policy settings of trade, investment, and technology. In 2018, Australia became the first country to publicly ban the Chinese tech giant Huawei from being involved in its 5G network. Mentioning national security reasons, there have been numerous other flashpoints since. Through all the turmoil, Australia's trade relationship with its bigger customer largely grew. China may have been furious with Australia, but its ever-growing economy remained hungry for Australian natural resources. So the iron ore, coal, and liquefied natural gas continued to flow to China, and Chinese tourists and students and a huge export income continue to flow to Australia. Though many economic benefits continue, things have changed dramatically in 2020. The real trigger this year has been Australia calling for an investigation into the origins of COVID-19, which was first detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan. Prime Minister Scott Morrison suggested that the World Health Organization needed tough new weapons inspector powers. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton referred to the US State Department comments that documentation existed showing how the virus has spread, but noted that he had not seen them. Chinese diplomats responded with highly undiplomatic language, saying Mr. Dutton must have been told to work with the US in its propaganda war. Professor Lawrenson told the BBC that Beijing's anger was directed not just at the political rhetoric but at Australia's stance on the global balance of power. He said, quote, China is seeing that Australia is making its choice to line up with America in a geopolitical competition. In late April, China's ambassador to Canberra, Zhang Jingye, threatened that Chinese people could boycott Australian products. He told the Australian Financial Review, "If the mood is going from bad to worse, maybe ordinary people will say, 'Why should we drink Australian wine? Eat Australian beef?'" Not long after, China slapped an 80.5% tariff on Australian barley, suspended some Australian beef imports, and launched an anti-dumping inquiry into Australian wine imports. Beijing also cautioned students and tourists against going to Australia, summoning racist incidents in light of COVID-19. Australian sentiments towards Beijing have also soared in public opinion. This is especially evident in what many see as China's attempts at arm-twisting with sanctions against sectors of Australia's economy. Lowy Institute think tank conducted a poll this year which found only 23% of Australians trusted China to act responsibly in the world. Beijing's fury with Canberra's latest stance, especially the US alignment, is not surprising, but the speed and severity of the anger have taken even the experts aback. Professor Lawrenson said, "I'm surprised to the extent that for 3 years we had a firewall between the political side of the relationship and the economic one. Now in the space of 5 months, we have China taking or mooting action against barley, beef, students, tourists, and wine. China is an emerging great power that has not yet been fully blended into the established norms and institutions of international relations. Suspicious of US attitudes, China regards any pressure over political and economic reform or issues such as Taiwan, Hong Kong, or Tibet as invasions into Chinese sovereignty. The problems which plagued Australia-China relations back in 1996 were an indication of the sensitive nature of the relationship. In particular, Australia's relations with China will be strongly influenced by the course of US-China relations during the second Clinton administration. The two sides know that with high tensions come even higher stakes. Last week, one of China's top diplomats called for an end to confrontation and abusive language between Australia and China. Fu Ying, China's former ambassador to Australia and an influential figure in Beijing, called for better communication because the two trading partners needed each other. The significance of that particular statement was not just in what she said, but who she said it to. Michael Smith of the Australian Financial Review, one of the two journalists who had been hurried out of China. Even amid the tensions and the pandemic-led global recession, the countries have traded at a consistent pace. Professor Lawrenson said, quote, "The economic side of the relationship remains a strength. You will not find two countries that have more complementary production structures than Australia and China. Simply put, China wants what Australia produces and they want it deeply." He expected it to coexist with the political relationship in an uneasy way going forward. This remains a complicated balancing act for both countries. Canberra needs a new pathway to navigate an increasingly complex relationship. Even with trade sanctions, China remains Australia's biggest trade partner, but China will also continue to rise in military and economic power in the contested Asian region. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. If you have enjoyed this video, then give this video a big thumbs up and share it. For more exciting videos, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. I'll be back with another exciting video soon. Till then, check out our channel for more exciting videos and stay tuned. Watch the coal crisis between China and Australia. The link is in the description below.